So as the NIO share price is still under pressure, I possibly found a reason why that is the case. And what you see here is the picture of NIO Park. So that's the new factory which they have together with JAC, where JAC on behalf of NIO is producing the ET5, the new model. And only by the end of last month they've started to deliver the ET5, of course a very important car. And the big question is how well can they ramp it up already this month and in the coming weeks? And what is going on in this factory? Why are there tents on the floor? And it seems to be the case, what I've just found out, that there might be ongoing COVID restrictions in Hefei. So that is the city in which NIO is actually having two factories, like Factory 1, also again together with JAC, where they produce the old models, and then the newest factory, the bigger one actually, which they just started to open up with mass production. And in this city, as I will show you now, there is a more and more ongoing COVID situation. So what you see here is the WeChat account of Hefei City. So the official account, it's auto-translated here so that you guys can also see. And I haven't scrolled through all of the notices, but going back, so that was 11th of October, so quite some time already, right? And that article was about, what happens if my health code is turning yellow. So, of course, the citizen of Hefei also have to take occasional and more frequent PCR tests, and these health codes will get yellow in case that there is a more dangerous zone, like if there were any infections found close by. And so it seems that the situation has become more and more tense. So on the 16th of October, there was what appears to be a big sampling, so a mass COVID test of more than 8 million people here of the entire city. And usually they do this whenever they found a couple of cases, and then, there might be an outbreak in the city. So then they make those mass tests where actually everyone in the city basically needs to take a test and gets the PCR test done. And so on 16th of October, they found one new case. You need to imagine that. One COVID case in a certain district. I'm not very familiar with Hefei, so that's Yaohai district. And basically you can see that from there, the situation got a little bit more tense. On the 18th, they implemented some epidemic prevention and control measurements, like temporarily suspending a bus line in Hefei. And if you scroll through those daily articles, sometimes it's more than one daily, you'll see that this has been increasingly more strict in terms of the management, like closing down shops. Some of the districts were set from mild zones, not high risk zones, to like higher risk zones and things like that. I'm not very much deep into the specific aspects of how they manage it specifically. All I see is that from those articles, it's become more and more strict in terms of the measures that they have chosen for Hefei. And for example, this is the article of today where they speak about the fact that employees need to take daily PCR tests, and they also implemented inspection zones, meaning like if you're going into the city as well as out of the city, there will be measures set in place in order to prevent a further outbreak of the situation there. So I don't know specifically whether or not NIO's districts where they are currently operating with those two factories, they are at very different locations, are both affected. It seems like, as this picture clearly is, in the latest factory that might be closer to the airport and the new factory in NIO Park, and that one seems to be affected. And that means employees are possibly operating in a closed loop, so they are sleeping in the factory in those tents, and the production may still go on, but it might be subject to various restrictions. And this may have implications, for example, for parts being delivered from outside into the cities, but also for the cars that are being produced and being sent out of Hefei. And so this casts doubt over NIO's abilities to deliver on their promises for this month of deliveries. By the way, the current deliveries, as far as we can see from the license plate registrations, as far as they are plausible, seem to be quite okay. So there is a chance actually that NIO meets a record month there, but with all of this ongoing situation there, there's certainly pressure on them. And the good thing is that this situation seems to be going on since quite a while, and there are very few cases as far as I can see. I think it's less than 10 COVID cases in the city, and it seems like they had a quick answer to those infections, right? So with those implementations of those measures. But the question is, if that's enough, and whether or not this outbreak can be curbed, and so that there will be not a real lockdown, in which case maybe NIO would even face a shutdown of the factory. And I think that might be anticipated in the share price in a way. They also, of course, institutions, of course, have even better insights and are, of course, also reading those daily newsletters by the official government there. And so maybe anticipating that because, of course, this casts clouds and shadows over NIO's growth prospects in the short term. We should have, of course, a very nice end of the year quarterly run there with high anticipations of very high delivery numbers, especially also the ET5. However, that's just the situation right now. And unfortunately, zero COVID still exists in China and still is being practiced. But as I've said before, this situation could also loosen up quicker than we think. And then NIO might be in this situation that they can produce normally and get their targets done. However, we haven't heard anything official from NIO themselves yet. Maybe the situation is just too, quickly developing. Who knows? But as I mentioned before, this is already going on since quite a while. So it's also not a surprising thing, certainly not a surprising thing for all of the institutions tracking NIO there. And so this might be one of the explanations why NIO share price currently is quite suppressed. So sorry, that's not good news, but just want to be objective and transparent about this. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.